Well, here we are with Smart Takes, and I'm Jennifer Harmon, and I am hosting. And it's so rare for me to get to host, but I had to reverse the table today because I want to talk about creative. I want to talk about moving restaurants, growing restaurants with great messaging, with great creative that gets the attention of the user, makes a current user want to go back more often, and a non-user try it out for the first time. And I think there's nobody I'd rather have sitting at this table on the other side of me than you, because you are an incredible creative director. You have done some of the best work we've ever done here at the
And
agency.
I love food. So
you love food
a lot.
and you really know what makes food look so great. So what I want to talk about today a little bit is how does creative for restaurants, how does it go from having kind of an idea, obviously a brief, a big creative strategy that probably the account person has written that's kind of, maybe a little not as strong as it needs to
Never.
be. How do you take that and turn that into something that's really going to capture the attention of the audiences that they're looking for?
Right.
And you've done it for people for years, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun doing it.
We have had so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's also talk about some interesting creative that I've just seen, which I'm sure a lot of people that watch us have seen it. One of the things I think is I love football. I watch it every fall.
Me too.
Love college football particularly, and I'm really committed to watching the commercials. I don't think everybody out there is committed to watching commercials.
I don't trust those people.
I know. I know what you mean.
Don't
The
be friends with
commercials
those.
are so
Don't
much
be friends with
fun.
those people.
Exactly. And I think one of the best commercials out there this time isn't for a restaurant, but it was Dr. Pepper's Team Town,
Oh, yeah.
where they collaborated with Affleck, and in comes Affleck. And it broke through for both brands.
Right.
It did such a great job of making you pause and actually stay for the commercial.
Yes.
So I'd love to get your thoughts on particularly collaboration.
Okay.
But also breakthrough, craveability, what drives a message enough, no matter what the channel, that really makes people think, gosh, I want to try that restaurant.
Right. Well, I think in that case, that was unexpected. And it was a little, always surprise and delight, always, right? Whether that's a new menu item or your messaging or something unexpected is always very fun for the viewer. And I like being entertained. Most people do. That was our approach with Zaxby's from the beginning. We wanted it to be fun. It's a fun food to eat. So we wanted the advertising to be fun and entertaining and engaging. I will say the first thing we did, which I think across the board is, like you said, you have to make that food craveable. And the first thing we did with Zaxby's was you've got to get your food photography tight. It's got to be mouthwatering. And they did. And that was an investment that they hadn't made before. But you can see the brands that do it, it pays off.
It does.
Applebee's always has great food photography. I will stop and watch it, even though the commercial may not be hilarious or whatever. I will stop and watch that hamburger ooze on the side.
I know.
Because it's so delicious.
It is.
Olive Garden, same thing. They know where their bread is buttered, and it's literally their breadsticks and their salad, unending, and that's what's drawing people in. So they're leaning into it. So make that food look super good. I will tell you now. All of a sudden, it seems like cheese is a paid actor, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've seen on TikTok, but Chili's came out with, I might have been like, it's a new menu item, might be a secret menu item. It was their Nashville, like hot Nashville mozzarella sticks. And the thing with these was the cheese pull. And it has taken on a life of its own on TikTok. You've got consumers who have bought it and they're like, we're going to try it out. I need to know if this is real. And literally take a bite and they're stretching.
And that's
the
what
cheese.
you're hoping for.
That's what you want. That's what you want. And it's like they hold it up and it's dripping with the sauce. And it's an interesting kind of shift because, as you remember, like it used to be a no-no, right? To show a close-up of people eating and hearing sounds
and noise around it.
It is not that way anymore.
I agree.
TikTok has changed the way people want to hear the crunch. People want, it's like ASMR. They want to see the drip. They want to see the goo. It is super interesting, which just opens up so much for people.
It
now
does.
You have to be careful. Now,
there are brands that are doing it, and then there are brands that haven't embraced it yet. I think they will.
Right.
I think Papa John's is doing a great job of showing people all together. So you see they're having fun. There's the party in the background. You feel like that could be your family or that could be your friends. it fits your mood, but
Right.
but the truth is the focus is on that pizza and pulling the slices away. The cheese is right.
That's right.
It's melting. It's greasy.
Yes.
It's all the things that are the reasons you buy the pizza.
Yeah.
And also they do a great pizza, so you can they're believable. I think that you can do it if you're believable, and if you're not believable, you can introduce something that nobody ever thought you had by delivering that same mouth-watering, close-up look of food that you've maybe never done before, and it can actually grab your attention.
It's like it's given people permission to be indulgent again, which is nice, because we know
true.
it's not necessarily the healthiest thing.
No.
Cheese is not, but it's delicious and we all love it. And the same thing with greasy burgers that are just like falling all over the place. It's like this now. The community is like, we are all in on this kind of all in eating.
Well,
which is nice.
You always talk a lot about where you and your daughter go to eat and all the fun fast food places you go as you're on the volleyball tours and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think that we're seeing a continuation of is the value menu.
Oh, no. Okay. So I have talked about this probably too much about.
I love it.
Wendy's set the bar. Wendy's set the bar.
Yeah.
Right, with the biggie bag.
Right.
You get a burger, you get nuggets, you get fries, you get a drink for $5.
$5.
And that was so easy for me on the way home from a sporting event or whatever. Right. So it was so successful that every single fast food brand has followed suit.
Right.
Burger King has a $5 bag. McDonald's has a $5 bag. Taco Bell took a little shift. They did their like Lux thing, so they made it fancy. I think it was $7. But everyone is like on board with this now because it felt like even fast food was getting unattainable.
Right.
You would go to like McDonald's and you're $12 and you're like, what? I've never paid $12 for, McDonald's.
I know.
It was a value thing.
I know. And McDonald's followed suit and came right back with the $5.
Yeah.
What do you think that set the way Wendy's set them apart in their messaging after that? Because suddenly you had all these
everyone was
brands,
copying.
everybody was copying.
Yes.
And what did they do to kind of take hold and remain the leader?
Well, they stayed true to their voice.
Right.
And Wendy's has kind of been known for being they just say what they want to say. Like, they have such a fun social media for following them.
That's right.
People beg them to basically roast them. Like, please, Wendy's, roast me for something, because they just have this attitude, and they'll go after any other brands. They've gone after McDonald's. They'll go after anyone, and people think that is hilarious. They're just, I don't know.
So they really slapped it back.
Well, they did. They slapped them back. They came back with their own commercial, and they were like, everyone's kind of doing what we're doing, but you know how to tell the difference between, Wendy's and everyone else. They're not Wendy's, essentially. So it was very, very clever.
Very
they
smart.
acknowledged that, everyone is copying us, and that's fine. You're still not us. So I find their commitment to their brand voice refreshing, hilarious, all the things.
I do think that most of the players that we've just talked about today do have a strong brand voice, and that brand voice must resonate in that messaging. It has to feel authentic to them and who they are. I don't think McDonald's would talk like that. I think Wendy's can do it because that's what they've owned. Right. They've had it since Where's the Beef. There's always a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a kind of a challenge in everything that they say. I do love it that McDonald's came back with their $5 meal, because I think they're a great brand. I mean, everybody knows them. They consider them very fresh, and they're fun. And I'm proud of them for doing it, even if it was kind of a Me Too. They needed it.
Absolutely. Well, you got to know who your audience is and why they're coming to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why try to be something that you're not?
Right.
Don't. And I do think that sometimes when brands try to introduce even menu items that are like, where did that come from?
Right.
That is not you. That doesn't even make sense. Like, but okay. I mean, you're like, I can tell you this isn't going to work out, but I won't name any names, but we've all seen them where you're like, that's curious.
Well,
that seems off-brand.
This may end up being kind of a Wendy's banner day in a good way, but they have been collaborating with SpongeBob. So I'd love to get your take on the value of collaborating, the value of joining two brands together, and really having a story.
Yeah.
And where you think people have done it well, and maybe where you've seen it hasn't worked as well. What do you think about that?
Well, it's not a new thing. You see a lot of brands partner when like a movie is coming out. They'll feature something, and clearly Wendy's has tapped into, like, everyone loves SpongeBob, right? It's the 25th anniversary of SpongeBob, so they got in there, created this Krabby Patty collab, right, with a pineapple-inspired shake, and I think there's a special sauce on what's the regular hamburger? They just added a sauce, so it's very clever because it's beloved. And so if you attach yourself to something that is beloved, even it's just, the fun of it.
And in an unexpected way.
Unexpected. I mean, yeah, like Krabby Patty, it's not crab, it's beef, but whatever, it doesn't matter. We can suspend disbelief.
Right.
But then you get people talking about it, people sharing it, and then people are going to start flooding because they just want to be part of it. McDonald's has done that for years when they do their special toys in their Happy Meal. No one's going to get you to go to somewhere faster than your kid going, I need that, whatever the
I have
is.
to say that.
We all have a million of those in our
years ago. We all have. We get the same one and we're excited.
Exactly. I get another now.
I got the yellow. Yeah, I got it again. Yeah. But like you're right. I mean, your children, your grandchildren, they want to have a toy.
Right.
And I do think the collaboration, it also probably strengthens the toy brand, and
it's good for everybody.
It's good for everybody. So I love that.
Yeah.
I do think that one of the things that, we always talk about is the kind of the formula. Mm-hmm. So, when you think of having the craveable product, which I think you have to have, and we've believed in that for years. I think everybody's embraced it now, but I mean, we've always been close up, but we also have always wanted a story there, something that resonates with, the potential user or with the person that loves the brand, like you love Wendy's. Talk a little bit about how we built things like that and continue to build things like that today.
Yeah. Well,
you restaurant brands.
You see that like right now, you see that with Chick-fil-A with the real people telling their stories. Even though they've been paid for their testimonial, it's still, you get that moment of what that meal or that item means to them. With Zaxby's, when we started, no one, they did not have a national presence. So we were kind of tapping into a very, very crowded space. And their food, there was just something different about their food. And when we started talking to people, it was very hard for them to kind of articulate, like, it's just amazing. It's just so good and so craveable and all the things, which ultimately led to our tagline, indescribably good, that first tagline.
Exactly.
But we, it's like we were ahead of the game because we started by filming real people trying the food for the first time and getting their authentic reaction to it. And they would talk us through it, and we were close up on the food and, the drippy wing or whatever. And they just were like, it was mouthwatering good. And we captured that on camera. And it really gave people a sense of like, oh my gosh, I want that experience.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you love food again, right? Because you can get really kind of used to it and like whatever. And you forget that it's a social thing. It makes you feel good. It's comforting. It's all those emotional triggers that are,
and it lends itself to every channel, really, every media channel. Food works beautifully in all the social outlets, but it does a great job in any kind of sponsorship. It does an incredible job on television.
Yeah.
It just has a great, and we even used to use a lot of radio, which,
I love radio.
Spotify's back.
Absolutely.
People are doing it. So, and that's
it doesn't
where
do great on
sounds.
Outdoor. I will say that's the one place where I'm like, it works for like a week, and then you're like, that should come down because that.
Well, I mean, sometimes I think that if you focus just on the food and get a close up, because we really moved a lot of Zaxby's by just getting that product front and center, so you could see the new salad, you could see the close up of the inside of that chicken sandwich, and I think that did drive people, because just like you said earlier, that whole mouth-watering, craveable, if you see it, can't leave it up past 6 months.
Right.
So that's a problem.
And not to go off on but not to go off on a tangent, but we think we found other clever ways with out of home, because it was about, like fulfill your craving, exit in 3 miles or whatever. So if you can find other ways, once your name is known and you know what you're getting on the end, and we knew that people were.
We had to do a lot to get Zaxby's recognized. We just didn't know what Zaxby's was.
We knew that they would drive out of their way. So that was like a beacon.
If they knew it.
I know.
And they saw it.
So out of home was good for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It did work really well for them.
Well, I will say one of the other collabs, just while we're to circle back on that, is Burger King did one recently. I think they dropped it a week or two ago with the Addams Family. I don't know if you've seen that. So that kind of ties two things, because it's a collaboration with the Addams Family, which people love. And Wednesday has been a huge resurgence for them. But what they did was they created the Wednesday Whopper, which has a purple bun. And when I first saw the commercial, I was like, I really would like to know how people react to that. Like,
Right.
when you look at it, it's off-putting because usually something that's purple is like,
It's
that's
not
not
tasty.
or fresh or
Right.
But the fun of it, the charm of it might overpower the look of it. So I'm just curious. I would love to know how
I would
that
love
went.
to know that too, but I do think, so much of the time we create promotions, and promotions still work if people go, gosh, I've got to go there right now.
Yeah.
I see it. I want it.
Right.
I might not want that purple bun, but I'm going to go in there and have a burger because I know they have a great burger and they're making me remember that. And they're attaching it
Absolutely.
to
And it's
something that makes me
super
feel
fun.
good.
It's
and
exactly
funny.
right. And super
So,
fun, yeah.
I mean, I do think I think it can work. A lot of times people say, well, the promotion didn't really work. Well, we drove 20% incremental sales, so the promotion worked.
Yep.
But nobody really bought that. But really, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they bought it. We drove people in. They were excited about coming, and maybe they went back to their original thing when they came in, their favorite thing that they get every time.
Right.
But I think promotions have to be judged differently. So, using collaboration, even if in fact nobody wanted the purple bun, the fun of it and around that sponsorship, that brand, I think that's amazing. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed my time. You are like my favorite person to interview since I haven't interviewed very many people. And I just think that you've done such a good job for so many years for our brands. And I'll tell you, one of the things I really love that we're doing right now for Metro Diner is helping them to create a whole new day part to really take just a few more hours in their day and really drive people to dinner day part. And I think that we're taking all of those things that we know work so well in the story to, showing that food close up, showing the faces, the people enjoying it and loving it.
Absolutely. We are like close up on those burgers. Those burgers are super delicious at Metro, and we are like right in there. Like you're seeing, just the red lipstick and the bite. I love it's just opened up so much more appetite appeal, which sounds antithetical, when you're hearing and seeing all the things, but it really does because people get a sense of like, I want that experience.
Absolutely. And we've helped them create a dinner day part. And if you're seeing that big hamburger at the right time, at the right time, you're going to go into Metro Diner to get that burger. You are absolutely, and you're not going to be disappointed.
Absolutely not, no.
And then we have our new up-and-comer, which is Luca Mates. And even though we're just working with social, we're helping them really establish a following for just this one store outside of Australia and Dubai and Singapore and everywhere else. So it's exciting to see what's happening to their brand. We love to grow brands.
Yes, absolutely.
We do. Well, thank you so much for talking about creative. It's always fun.
It's weird.
And
it's weird doing this.
I know. I think I like this side of me better over there anyway. So next time.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye. Bye.